Hello, beta. Continue your chapter. Albert Einstein at school. I don't know how to describe my travel. Dr. Whale, he began. Albert went to see the doctor and told him that he really does not have the right choice of words to describe his miserable situation. एल्बर्ट आइंस्टीन डॉक्टर के पास जाता है और क्या कहता है कि उसके पास शब्द नहीं है कि वो अपनी प्रॉब्लम को आपके साथ कैसे शेयर करे. The friend, don't try, said the young doctor, with friendly smile. Yuri has already given me a history of the case. The friendly doctor comforted him and told him that Yuri had already done it for him. यहाँ पे क्या कहता है डॉक्टर फ्रेंडली तरीके से क्या कह देता है कि आपका जो फ्रेंड है यूरी उसने केस की सारी हिस्ट्री उसे बता दी है, कुछ भी कहने की जरूरत नहीं है. ओ व्हाट डिड ही से एंड only that you want me to think you have had a nervous breakdown and say that you must not go back to that school. It turned out that Yuri had told Dr. Whale the entire truth and how Albert wanted the doctor to think he had a nervous breakdown because of school. क्या कह देता है कि यूरी ने पहले ही उसे नर्वस ब्रेकडाउन के बारे में बता दिया है कि नर्वस ब्रेकडाउन करना चाहता है और स्कूल से दूर रहना चाहता है. Oh dear, Albert face fell. He shouldn't have told you that. Why not? Isn't it true? Then Albert expressed his displeasure with Dr. Wayne, knowing the entire truth, because he felt that the doctor would not help him now. Yes, that's the trouble. Now you will say there is nothing wrong with me, and you will tell me to go back to school. As a result, he would have to go back to school. Dr. Will, knowing the entire truth because he felt that the doctor would not help him now, and Albert Einstein would have to go back to school again. Don't be too sure of that, said the doctor. As a matter of fact, I am pretty sure you are in nervous state about that school. Again, the doctor comforted him by saying that his situation was well understood and even when he had not told anything about it. But I have not told you anything about it, said Albert. Wide-eyed, how can you know that? Albert was surprised with the doctor reply and he said how he got to know all about Albert. But I have told anything about it because you wouldn't have come to see me about this if you had not been pretty close to a nervous breakdown. Why now, said the doctor briskly, if I certify that you have had a nervous breakdown and must stay away from school for a while, what will you do? The doctor very professionally replies that if Albert were not really close to a nervous breakdown, he wouldn't be really seeing him. He then inquired about Albert's plans. Once he gets out of the school, Albert tells him that the plan on going to live with his parents in Italy, where he would join an Italian school or college. Here, Albert Einstein described his conditions and Dr. Whale certified that you have nervous breakdown and must stay away from school for a while. व्हाट विल यू डू, आप करोगे क्या? क्वेश्चन पूछ लेता है उससे, जानना चाहता है कि अगर वो सर्टिफिकेट दे भी देते हैं नर्वस ब्रेकडाउन का, तो एल्बर्ट आइंस्टीन उसके बाद क्या करेगा? आई विल गो टू इटली सेड एल्बर्ट, टू मिलान where my parents are. And what will you do there? I will try to get into an Italian college or institute. How can you without a diploma? The doctor expresses his lack of clarity on the subject of admission in the college without a school diploma. बिना डिप्लोमा के किसी भी स्कूल में कैसे एडमिशन मिल जाएगा? I will ask my mathematics teacher to give me something about my work, and perhaps that will be enough. I have learned all the maths they teach at school and a bit more, he added when Dr. Vale looked doubtful. Albert assured him that his mathematics teacher would provide him with a reference good enough to get him in. And Albert claimed to have learned all about mathematics that he taught in a school and some more of it as well. यहाँ पे एल्बर्ट आइंस्टीन अपने मैथमेटिक्स का जो टीचर है उसका रेफरेंस देता है कि अपने मैथमेटिक्स टीचर से प्रशंसा पत्र ले लेगा, क्योंकि जितना भी उसके टीचर ने करवाया है उससे कुछ अधिक उसने कर लिया है और उसे वो अच्छी तरह से आता भी है. Well, it is up to you, he said. I doubt if it will come off, but I can see you are not doing yourself or anyone else much good by staying here. How long would you like to me say you should stay away from school? Would 6 months be alright? This is very kind of you. The doctor still not convinced if the college idea would succeed, but he is definitely convinced about the fact that Albert going to school is not doing any, anyone much good. Thus, he confirms if a 6 month away from school period would be enough to put his plans in place. And Dr. Bill tells him that he understands the situation so well because he has just stopped being a student. He even refuses to take his fees and ask him to take Yuri Faramel. This is very kind of you. अब जो डॉक्टर है एल्बर्ट आइंस्टीन को नर्वस ब्रेकडाउन का सर्टिफिकेट दे देता है और उस सर्टिफिकेट की हेल्प से एल्बर्ट आइंस्टीन 6 महीने तक स्कूल से दूर रह सकता है. अब एल्बर्ट आइंस्टीन डॉक्टर एर्नेस्ट वेल का धन्यवाद करता है. इट इज़ नथिंग, हाउ मच? अब डॉक्टर वेल उससे पूछता है कि कितने पैसे इसके दूँ. It is nothing, I have only just started being a student myself, so I know how you feel. Here you are, Dr. Will handed him the certificate and the best of luck. How much? Nothing. If you have anything to spare, invite Yuru to a meal. He is a good friend of mine and yours too. I think Albert had no money to spare, but he pretended he had and took Yuri out to suffer. He even refuses to take his face and asks him to take Yuri for a meal. Filled with joy, Albert took Yuri out for supper even though he had no extra money. Isn't it wonderful? He said after showing Yuri the certificate. On seeing the certificate, Yuri assures him that 6 months is a good time period because just in case things go wrong, 6 months is a good period. This way you won't actually be leaving the school. So if the rust comes to the rust, you will be able to come back and carry on your diploma. Albert could come back to finish his school diploma. Albert assures Yuri that 6 months is a good time period because just in case things go wrong, Albert could come back to finish his school diploma. I will never go back to that place, Albert assured him. I'm going to take this certificate to the head teacher tomorrow, and that will be the end. He conveyed his idea of taking the certificate to the head of the school the next morning, and while Yuri reminded him, don't forget to get a reference in writing from your mathematics teacher. First, Yuri reminded him to get the reference letter first from the mathematics teacher. Mr. Coach willingly gave Albert the reference he wanted. Mr. Coach, the mathematics teacher, gave Albert a nice referral. A referral, if I say I can't teach you anymore and probably you will soon be able to teach me, will that be alright? He asked. He even went to the extent of saying that Albert would soon be ready to teach him, which Albert thought was saying too much, probably out of the respect for his teacher. यहाँ पे जो एल्बर्ट आइंस्टीन का जो मैथमेटिक्स का टीचर है वो क्या कहता है कि एल्बर्ट आइंस्टीन आप जितना पढ़ चुके हो आप उससे ज़्यादा मैं आपको नहीं पढ़ा सकता, इसलिए अब आप इतने काबिल को हो कि आने वाले समय में मुझे भी पढ़ा सकते हैं. That saying too much, sir, said Albert. And it is not only the truth, but all right. I will put it more seriously. It was still a glowing reference, and Mr. Coach made the point that Albert was ready immediately to enter college or an institute for the study of higher mathematics. Mr. Coach then put it in different words but furnished the reference in a way to make it smooth for Albert to enter any college to pursue education in higher mathematics. And I'm sorry you are leaving us, although you are wasting your time in my class, he said. It is almost the only class where I am not wasting my time, said Albert. But how did you know I am leaving, sir? The teacher expresses his displeasure about Albert leaving, but again, he knew Albert was wasting his time there. Albert instantly corrected him by saying that Mr. Coach's class was the only class where he was not wasting his time. Albert did not tell him anything about leaving, but Mr. Coach could identify it long before Albert realized himself, and also because of the referral. To his surprise, Albert was called into the head's room. And after that, Albert was puzzled. What did the teacher mean? He soon found, before he had a chance to ask for an interview with the head teacher, he was summoned to the head's room. अब उसे हेडमास्टर के रूम से बुलावा आ जाता है. हेडमास्टर के साथ एल्बर्ट आइंस्टीन का इंटरव्यू है, वो उनसे बातचीत करना चाहता है. Well, it saves me the trouble of being having to wait an hour or two outside, he thought. He hardly bothered to wonder why he had been sent for, but vaguely supposed he was to be punished again for bad work and laziness. Well, he had finished with punishment. Although he was not aware of the reason, and he was himself going to make an appointment, but he was happy that it saved him the trouble of waiting for 1 or 2 hours to meet him. Albert did not put much thought into why he was called into the office, but somehow he knew it was to punish him for his poor performance and lack of interest. Leave school now. I am not going to punish you, the head teacher said to Albert's surprise. Your work is terrible and I am not prepared to have you here any longer. Einstein, I want you to leave the school now. Leave school now, repeated Albert, dazed, means surprised. To his utmost surprise, Einstein was told that he was not going to be finished this time. The headmaster expressed that he is done with all his laziness and wishes to no longer have him there. And Albert's first thought was if he was being expelled. अब यहाँ पे एल्बर्ट आइंस्टीन हेडमास्टर के ऑफिस में चला जाता है और वहाँ पे हेडमास्टर उसे उसकी लेजीनेस और उसकी बैड परफॉर्मेंस के कारण स्कूल से एक्सपेल कर देता है और उसे स्कूल से रिलीव कर देता है. You can take it that way if you wish, Einstein. The head teacher was not mentioning words. Mentioning words means to speak vaguely, clearly, indirectly. The simplest thing will be for you to go off your own accord and then the question won't arise. The head of school was pretty serious and suggested that he left school on his own instead of being expelled because it would be easier for both parties. And but said Albert, what crime I have committed? Albert still didn't understand what crime he had committed. Your presence in the classroom makes it impossible for the teacher to teach and for the other pupils to learn. You refuse to learn and you are in constant rebellion and no serious work can be done while you are there. Albert still didn't understand what crime he had committed. The head teacher explained how his presence is creating trouble for the teachers to give lesson to other students and how no work can be done when he is around. While standing there, Albert felt the certificate. Oh, Albert, I was going to leave. Anyway, he said, then we are in agreement. Einstein, the headset. For a moment, Albert was tempted to tell the man what he thought of him of his school, then he stopped himself. Without another word, holding his head high, he stalked out. He was anyway being sent away from school. Regardless, Albert expresses that he was anyway going to leave too, which the teacher replies that at least for the first time they are agreeing on something, and shut the door after something. At that moment, Albert was being driven by his desire to tell the head teacher the truth and what he thought of the school. But somehow he managed to resist it because at last his wish was fulfilled. He walked straight out of the school while ignoring head teacher's instruction with his high hat. अब देखिए क्या घटना घटती है. एल्बर्ट आइंस्टीन अपने टीचर से एग्री हो जाता है, वो हैप्पी हो जाता है, चाहता भी वैसा था कि उसे स्कूल से निकाल दिया जाए. और फिर उसके टीचर एक बार तो क्या सोचता है कि उसके टीचर को या हेडमास्टर को रियलाइज़ करवा दे कि वो उनके बारे में क्या सोचता है, स्कूल के बारे में क्या सोचता है. लेकिन फिर खुद को रोकता है, नहीं कहता है और वहाँ से उठ जाता है और वापस डोर की तरफ चल पड़ता है अपना हेड हाई करके. Shut the door after you, shouted the head. and Albert ignored. He walked straight on out of the school where he had spent 5 miserable years without turning his head to give it a last look. He could not think of anyone he wanted to say goodbye to. Indeed, Yuri was almost the only person in Venice he felt like seeing before he left the town. He had come to hate almost as much as the school. Eliza was back in Berlin and he had no real friends. Here, he walked straight out of the school while ignoring the head teacher's instruction with his head high. And he did not even look back at the place where he had spent the most terrible years, miserable years of his life. He had no real friends or close friends who he could say goodbye. He met Yuri before leaving, who wished him goodbye and good luck, said Yuri when he left. You are going to a wonderful country, and I hope, you will be happier there. He met Yuri before leaving, who wished him well and hoped he would be happy in the country he was going to. Eliza was also back in Berlin with